of my other favorite piece in your album is Bartók, the Dance Suites. Yeah, and I know that Bartók is a collector of so many, like 9,600 of different folk melodies and dance music, and he himself immersed with all those different regions and countries. So how do you interpret all those for?
Yeah, this is, I mean, this is a very special piece that, as you know, was originally an orchestral piece, and it was commissioned to celebrate the 50th anniversary of the unification of Buda and Pest into what is the modern Budapest. So at that time, the nationalistic sentiments were really, really high. So everybody wanted something Hungarian, strongly Hungarian. But what Bartók did, he made this suite with elements, folk elements from Bulgaria, from Moldavia, from even from Arab countries, from Hungary itself, or different parts, and each movement has its own feel. And then in the last movement, he puts all these elements clearly together, and it's in a sort of message of brotherhood of people. It's really not what they asked him to do. So it's a very special piece. And he made the transcriptions for piano, which is amazing. It's incredibly complicated to play because already Bartók is quite difficult for piano, but here you have so many different colors that you need to bring out from the orchestral, otherwise it can sound like chaos. It's a really special piece. And he's one composer that writes so much, so many instructions all the time. Even little tempo changes from one, even duration of sections. Yet the goal of this is to sound free and folk-like and human. And very often I think it is mistaken as modern percussive music, whereas when you hear his own recordings, there's so much freedom.
Yes.
So he's just kind of guiding you in a certain direction. What I said about Bach, you know, we don't have as clear or as classical of a harmonic sense in Bartók, but it gives you a direction. Okay, this passage needs to move, this needs to come back, and it reminds me a lot of in many ways, of Schnabel's editions of Beethoven sonatas, where if you look at it from superficially, you think, wow, what is he doing? Why is he changing tempos here and there? But it's just giving you directions to which way the music should go. And then Bartók, I mean, I think is one of the most human composers. First of all, most of his music, if not all, has connection to folk music, to dance. So it's never seldom is abstract.
But when I'm thinking about a lot of the dance music, like the Rite of Springs, Peter and Wolf, and all this, there are a lot of tempo shifts and changes. But for Bartók, we just suggest the musicians to follow exactly the tempo markings.
But he writes many. And they change a lot. And it's quite important, of course, to follow everything, but to justify, I mean, to feel the same thing in Beethoven, in any music. You know, it's not enough to do a sforzando there. You have to ask yourself, why did Beethoven have this incredible need to write that? As you know, as I said before, if a composer writes something, it's because we wouldn't normally do it. Everybody is musical to some degree. You know, he's not teaching little kids. Don't put an accent there. You know, if he writes a sforzando, there's something emotionally that. And once you follow that and you ask yourself why, how different would it be without it? You know, then these incredible structures come to life, come together, and that's a beautiful moment when that happens. But you have to trust the composer.
I think also ask a good questions leads to appropriate or justified answer. It's important too.
And you will not always come up with an answer, but just the fact that you're asking the question.
That's
important.
True. Just a side question: do you dance?
No. In my head I dance so well, but there is something quite uncoordinated with my feet.
You never actually label yourself either as a soloist or chamber musician or orchestra soloist. But I know that you and your wife, Lucy Chang, are very famous with the piano duets. And I saw your performances and also your albums too.
I don't know, this started, we were already dating. And there was the 150th anniversary of Steinway. And a big anniversary of the Ottawa, I forget, it was 10th or more, Ottawa Chamber Festival. And so they had 16 pianists and 10 concert grands in the Ottawa Arts Centre with all Canadian pianists, my wife is Canadian, and me. And they asked us to play these massive transcriptions. And in the middle of it, they say, oh, why don't you play the Rachmaninoff Second Suite? And we had never played together. I said, yeah, sure, I love the piece. And in the middle of all these 10 pianos, 16 pianist things, this big romantic work seemed very intimate, you know. And then from the moment on, we enjoyed it, and there's some of the most amazing personal repertoire for piano for hands. It is for piano for hands because great composers wrote this music for themselves and for their friends, and it's some of the most really intimate music. And at the same time, people use this format to show the range of the piano, that it can really sound like an orchestra. So there's this great transcription. So the range is incredible.
That we know that often the case, no matter in which setting, a piano duet or chamber music, orchestra setting, it's often seen that musicians, they are playing their specific parts, but it's more like a contract that each people are playing, agree upon the things that which already agree upon. But there's much more of the responsive energy that you and Lucy bring up to the music.
Yeah, that's a very interesting question. Yeah. It's a combination of things, and also it depends on the dynamic that you have with the other person that you're playing with. You know, it should never be about compromise. So you always have to be alert. You always have to be listening. You always have to react. So you can decide a few things. Of course, you need to, but it should go way beyond that.
Would you want to walk us a little bit about how you bring a piece with Lucy together from the ground up?
Yeah, that depends on how familiar we already are with the piece, and also how much time we have. So we are very lucky to, you know, as two pianists, you don't really have to play together. If you're a violinist and a pianist, the violinist needs to play with the pianist, and you know, it's a different situation. Yeah. So our criteria is, you know, we take projects that in places that we like and repertoire that we love. So it really always feels like a labor of love and almost like being on holiday. No one is forcing us to play together. So when we do some things because we really want to, and we really love all the pieces that we play. So that's already a very good starting point. Then, you know, we read through it. Before even we read, we instinctively know if it would sound better with me playing first or her playing first. We just know each other's playing. And at this stage, we really don't really speak much in rehearsals anymore because we know each other's playing, and we know when things are going not well. We just repeat it and it's fixed, and it's probably the most efficient rehearsal by now. And that's very important, especially for piano for hands, you know, where you're sharing the same instrument.
Yeah, I think usually the case, like we will form a group and then we just hang out as friends, but we really don't know each other's weaknesses and strength till many months or years later. And
I mean, I think that can work with great musicians with different instruments, but when it comes with sharing the same instrument, just the idea of sharing the same instruments, and ultimately it's a percussion instrument. Everything needs to be perfectly together.
Yes.
But you cannot just look and be together. By that time you'll be too late. Yeah. So you have to share the same energy. You have to know exactly when things are going to happen, and so it's a special skill, I think.
Yeah, it's a very special skill because I noticed that you two rarely have an eye contact actually during the piano duet performances, and everything just flow. But just one thing is different, which sometimes the page turning is a little different. But
and that you know, even eye contact, you cannot really relate. The good advantage is that you're sitting next to the other person, so you really feel the energy, you feel the breathing, and that's something that's very difficult in two pianos, where not only you cannot see each other's hands, but you're sitting so far.
Do you practice breathe together actually?
I think it happens.
It just happens.
And if it doesn't, then it probably won't be together.
I think it's very important because it doesn't matter with how each people play with the gestures. Because I noticed you're playing very differently with Lucy, and sometimes we thought that we have to move together to feel together, but I think there's much more beyond that.
Yeah, because also, you know, when you talk about piano, you can breathe together, but at the end, the way I press a key down, it's not going to be the same as the other person. There's no way to have exactly. My hand is different. My technique is different. So you have to find a common ground that overrides these technicalities. You cannot say, okay, we need to hit the key exactly the same speed. That's not possible for every note. So you have to be musically on the same ground and know what the end result wants to be, and then you use again your skills to get there. And we get there from different points, but you have to meet at the same spot.
Do you ever feel pressured when playing as a couple? Do you feel like it's actually more pressure rather than like more excited?
I find it easier.
Easier.
I find it easier, a lot easier. The whole thing. I mean, and also on the day of the concert, I'm always, no matter how nervous, I'm always looking forward to it. Yeah.
Very interesting that for your Pisalo tangos, you mentioned that you would improvise.
Yes. That's a case in point. I mean, I would never improvise in front of people. Maybe on my own, but I will never have the confidence to do that. And so there's a lot of trust, especially because I don't know what she's going to play, and I don't know what I'm going to play. And you're sharing the same keyboard, so you could easily think about playing the same note at the same time and get in a total accident, So there has to be some kind of ESP thinking what can the other person might be doing, and you have to be on the same wavelength. Of course, I mean, we know that the bass is going to be the same, but all the flourishes and everything that we add, so we never know. So we joke that we don't know what it's going to sound like, and we just hope that we end together. But it's very exciting. But I would never go on at this stage. I wouldn't feel comfortable going on stage and improvise on my own or improvise with anybody else.
Was the improvise your idea or your wife's idea?
I think it just happened because we didn't find the transcription for four hands of the Piazzolla tangos that we really liked, and we got very bored with what we found. So we started changing, and then what we do, we have a score of that's very basic. It's a two-hand score, very basic, just to have the outlines, and we play everything but what's in front of us. So that and so we decided that that's what works best, and that's actually a lot of fun.
That's very interesting. Okay, wow, yeah, because I never would thought to improvise on a piano duet.
Yeah, but that's why we keep playing these tangos for so many years now. We would have been, I think, bored by now if we were playing the same version.
I love the arrangements. Besides as a musician, you're also an artist director of your festival, which is Incontri. Do you see yourself as an entrepreneur?
No, not at all. I mean, that's the last thing I want to do, because I know I'm on the other side, so I know how difficult it is to promote concerts and to make that a viable business. It's amazing. People are gifted to do that. It's wonderful what the great promoters are doing. It's essential, but that's not the skill that maybe you can grow into it. Maybe I will grow into it. I don't know. So I had the opportunity with Incontri, with other projects that I'm heading now, to bring some of my closest friends and some of the greatest musicians in the world together.
Yes.
To have a good time together, to share music, to discover new things, to include new talents, young people, and to have a great time, and to make programs where the audience could feel that. It was interesting to me going to so many festivals, how you can take the same group of people playing the same repertoire in a different place, and it would sound completely different in a different festival because of the experience that they had that week, because of the food they ate, because of the wine they drank, how much time they spent together. And I thought, why is this so special? So, and I saw that Incontri in the beautiful region of Val d'Orcia in Tuscany, everybody's just glowing, just being there, arriving, people that know the place. Every morning you look out and there's so much beauty around you.
Yes.
Then I make sure that we have wonderful food, we take care that all the families are there. And so when the concert time comes, you really hear that in the music. It's really what music is about. And you feel like richer as a person, you feel cleaner, you feel more refreshed, and you're ready at the end of the summer, you're ready to start your new season as a better person. And I couldn't pass that opportunity.
Wow, everything's refreshed. So that festival is during the summertime.
It's
how long
end of July. The festival has been going on for 36 years, but I've been director for the last 7, so I'm organizing now the eighth season. And the concerts take place in different towns, in different venues, outdoors, indoors. there's a jewel box opera theater, miniatures, 150 seats, but with balconies,
Yeah, I saw
and
that.
outdoor places. There's church from the 9th century,
Yes.
and the audience travels with us, and
Yeah. Oh.
and while going to the concerts, they have their best holiday of their life, because
wow.
there's everything comes together:
Yeah.
literature,
Yeah.
food, sightseeing,
Yeah.
history, art. It all comes together.
Yeah, Tuscany, I remember, is the birth of the Renaissance.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. Actually, my friend, she's not a musician. She saw the photos of the park and the gardening, everything. She said she wanted to host her wedding there.
Oh yeah, it's a very famous place for weddings. She should
okay.
reserve it a few years ahead.
Wow.
Oh, it's
okay.
been in films, in TV
Yeah.
shows, I mean, that's, and not only that, but
Okay.
historically, it's a place of great significance during the war as well.
Wow. So it's definitely on my traveling list. So let us first recall the Greek word poiesis, which means to bring something that's not created before into existence. And in the context of piano competition, I know that you have been judging for a lot of top competitions like wine climbing competitions, Busoni competitions. Are there any moments that you feel that it's something, the moment of new?
I don't think of us as creators, even creators of art. We're just really using our skills, as I said before, to show what music is about. Now there'll be new things because people play differently, but what I'm always looking for is someone to get to the core and to the soul of a certain piece of music. In a way, it's easy to make something new just from scratch that has nothing to do, but that's not. I don't think ultimately that's our job. Or at least I would think it would be a bit presumptuous to think I'm going to create something new using a Beethoven sonata. You know, then maybe you should write your own piece of music and create something new. You know, like so many great composers did. So that's, in a way, that's my philosophy. That it should not be the ultimate goal. I think it can easily send someone on the wrong path if you approach your creative process as okay, I'm going to say something new with this piece. What is it going to be? That's a very dangerous path to go down, I think.
When encounter with highly original interpretations, how do you assess the performers, their own understanding of the historical and cultural context of the music?
I'm the happiest person if I hear a performance of a piece I know very well that's different than my own conception. And if it's well presented and convincing, and if it doesn't go against the nature of the music itself. We spoke about Bach in a very simplistic form, how harmony is the base of everything. If it's serving the purpose of the music and the core of the music, and yet it's completely different than what I do, that's so exciting. Imagine, like, you're conveying the same message but in a completely different way. And I love to find those moments. It would be impossible to just look for something that the way I would play it, and it probably won't be very good anyway. So I want to hear something better, something more exciting, something more interesting, something different that doesn't ruin the music, but shows it under a different light in the best way possible.
I know you are a frequent concert pianist, and pretty much every 3 days you are into another country and you're playing a concert. How are you able to adapt into this very high intensity concert scene?
For me, at least, it takes a lot of organization. The biggest challenge is to balance your life with touring. And I have a family also. I have a 10-year-old daughter, and of course I don't get to see her enough. And then I teach quite a bit. If I have a free week, I'm teaching at NEC in Boston. So that takes a lot of organization. And in terms of, okay, I'm going to prepare now for the concert in 2 months. I'm playing next month so much music. I mean, it's probably 5-6 hours of music, different concerti. And I'm thinking, at what stage is my Brahms second piano concerto for next month? What do I need to practice today? I have half an hour between lessons. Let me focus on that. So that takes a lot of organization. As a student, it was incredible. I had all day. I mean, I complained. Everybody complains as a student they don't have enough time. But the truth is that you learn how to manage your time.
Wow.
So
That's incredible.
That's very important. And I'm not saying I'm always successful with it, because then you can make the best plan and life gets in the way, and then you cannot follow those plans. So you have to also prepare for that.
Do you do a lot of mental practices?
I don't rely on it, let's say. I like to focus on the pieces that I'm playing in the moment. I wish, I could, it's not, some of my colleagues can do it, the day of the concert, practice or think about something totally different, a different program that they're doing next. I feel as a pianist, we have to keep tabs on so many things, so many notes.
Yes.
If you're playing a recital, you're playing all of it or most of it by memory. So there's an added pressure of performing that we have as pianists. And I feel that on the concert day, I need to focus 100% on what I'm playing that day. So the mental practice that goes on that day is about the music that I'm going to play. It's very dangerous to say, I'm going to mentally practice that piece and it'll be fine. We still need the physical connection. I think it's very important.
Do you have any warm-up before the concerts or like before the preparations?
Coffee? No, not really. I mean, unless I haven't played for a while or my hands feel particularly stiff. I mean, I wouldn't start with something incredibly demanding, depending on what I'm practicing. But you have to know, there's a part of what we do that's very similar to be an athlete. You have to know your body, you have to listen to your body very well. So if there's resistance, you can't push it. You have to find solutions that go around it, or ways to manage, or build little by little strength so that you can do it. And the same thing is with warm-up. If you feel whatever is cold outside, or you haven't played for a while, that your fingers can stretch, there's no point starting with big stretches in a way.
Never force your body. That's very important to remember.
True,
yeah. There's also one thing that's a lot of people are talking is the jet lag.
I just don't believe in jet lag. I convinced myself I don't believe. No, I'm joking, but because I know that it works for my daughter. She traveled already to 27 countries in her life, and kind of half jokingly said, "No, I have an absolute cure for jet lag, which is you arrive, you try to stay up as late as possible." So for me personally, that's no matter how tired you are, it's past midnight, and then you wake up before 8 o'clock. No matter how nice it feels in bed when you're jet lagged. And then you do that for 2 days, and usually you adjust very well. Now it's tricky. I like to take little naps before concerts, and so if I have a concert on the day after I arrive, if I take that nap, then that night is going to be very difficult. So I'm going to get very little sleep, but still I would push myself to wake up before 8 o'clock. And then eventually your body adjusts.
Yeah. Sometimes we have to push our body to be in that mode.
Yeah, and if you take a night, the flight arrives in the evening, that's easier because then you can go to bed and try to manage that. It's not easy for everyone. I like to go for long walks just to get sunlight, which it's been proven to be helpful for jet lag, so that your body knows what time of the day they are. And I love to walk, especially in foreign countries, and so I try to get some physical activity by walking.
I think those are very essential and important characters and qualities that we musicians need to cultivate nowadays. So a lot of people that surrounded me have praised you, have great personalities, aside from your great musicianship. And this is wonderful because I think as musicians, we sacrifice a lot in the practice rooms, and we wouldn't go out to meet people, we wouldn't go out to network. So yeah, do you have any advice in that kind of aspect?
I mean, I remember as one of huge influence in my life, musical and not, reading Rubinstein's memoir, my young years. First of all, it's an amazing book, and it's a history book. It goes through 2 world wars, and it's very difficult, the early stages, and on to one of the greatest careers and personalities that ever lived, not only as a musician, and his joy for life, his outlook, why are we here? Of course, we love music, we spend all day with it, but what's the ultimate goal is to share it with people, to enrich yourself with this amazing art, to make the world a nicer place, and not saying better place, but a more beautiful place, and to enjoy it, you know, and to share that love somehow. So I think it's very important to enjoy the beautiful things in life, so that the music also grows as well, and the other way around. So it's very important. Meeting people is the same thing, you know. I want to know who I'm playing for also.
Yeah, that's true.
As pianists, as you said, you can easily isolate yourself.
Especially
then,
pianists.
Yeah, especially pianists. And then you kind of lose track of what you're doing.
Yeah, that is true. I remember once I was doing an event for a salon concert myself, and I have to reach to a lot of people, and I actually cried before the night, because it's like networking is not my strength, it's not my
but I mean, I don't think you should think of it as networking. It should be a pleasure.
It should be,
and
yes.
And it should be effortless. If you make an effort, well, sometimes you have to push yourself, you know. It's like, okay, I'm going to go out tonight, and I'm going to go even if you don't feel like it. But for the most time, you know, you will never be good at something if you don't enjoy it.
Yes. Alongside of your career path and your life journey, have you ever, there's a moment that you feel challenged? If so, like what kind of inner dialogue you had to guide you in the process?
I feel very lucky that, I don't know if it's luck or just lack of other talents. As a kid, I wanted to be a soccer star when I was 6 or 7. Sorry, I didn't mean to switch the conversation, but just because I'm Italian, every Italian wants to do that. And very quickly, I mean, it took just a few months realizing that everybody else was much more talented with their feet. And I told them about dancing. So the next thing that came onto my plate, just by coincidence, by chance, was a little keyboard. And then I loved it from the first moment he arrived. And I wanted to be, of course, a musician. You know, as a kid, you get obsessed with one thing, and you want to do that. And that it's somehow never changed since.
Wow. Okay.
So I never had a point in my life where I thought, oh, should I be a musician? Should I do something else? But I realized that's very lucky. And even my path, I guess I was, at some point I realized that I was given pieces that were too difficult for me, and that was challenging, because all of a sudden I couldn't play the pieces, you know. And as a kid, I remember feeling very frustrated, and my parents being very patient with me. But other than that, I was lucky in other respects. So far, I might still change, but so far, I think it's been kind of a gradual process.
I think you mentioned about patience. That's important about parenting, because a lot of the pianists that growing up does not live like that. It kind of experiences. But also I think that you're growing up in a very rich heritage of culture and foods and wine. I think those enriches you as a human being as well.
Yeah, I think all the experience we go through are. You're from a culturally incredibly rich country as well. I mean, and we all have our baggage, good or bad, anyway. The good thing about art that you can use any kind of baggage that you have, even bad ones, obviously. I mean, so many of the greatest masterpieces were written after terrible circumstances. And then, you know, knowing that whatever you experience in life, you bring to your music. So that's a great gift. But it's not something that I think one should do consciously. It's just who you are. There's no way, I think, to hide behind music.
But I think it's always important to always release yourself from any negative environments or negative feelings, so then we can have more rooms in those beautiful things.
That's a very good advice for life, yeah.
And also access to those memories in our unconscious mind.
True.
Yeah, otherwise it probably wouldn't leak through.
Yeah, it's much easier to be negative and to be pessimistic and to judge others. But it's so much better and so much more fun to look what's good in others, what's positive, what you can bring with you. You know, that's I think it's much more exciting and constructive. Yeah,
and being grateful, because you have mentioned so much words of luck and gratefulness. And also, you know, 9 is a very good number in Chinese, because your album is the 9 solo album, and also there are 19 chapters. So 9 meaning longevity and great success, and so
there you go.
Wishes to your album
Thank
as
you.
well. Hope it's a great success. And I know you are having so many concert tours in Asia, across Japan, and also other countries. Would you want to announce some and let some of our listeners to know ahead?
Oh, yes, there are a few dates. I'm going to Japan just in a few days, but it'll be past by the time this comes out. And then I think I'm going to Japan again in May, Japan and Taiwan. That's the next thing planned for Asia. And I hope to go back to China at some point. It's been a while.
We would love to have you here.